We were having a laugh just before we actually started to record, and I asked you to give me some figures and approximations on the amount of people that you've trained.
Well, I was looking at the numbers the other day. It's just over 500 people I've put through the system. Some of them have done it, a couple of times. People really love it. They want to continue doing it. But over these years and that many people, it's been around $500,000.
It's pretty good.
I know, that blew my mind when I realized that.
You're very welcome to our Amazing 12 coach interviews. And first up is Amanda Hudson in Natchez, Mississippi. How are you, Amanda?
I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much. You're a bit of a legend in the A12 coaching community with what you've managed to do and what you've managed to achieve in Natchez, in that community. So tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background, and about your business.
Well, thank you, first of all. Okay, so I've been a coach for about 15 years now, total. I just started off being an ISS trainer in the public gyms, and did that for a number of years before I decided to go with StrongFirst. And so I went to their first certification, I think 6 years ago now in Houston, and did primarily kettlebell work for a number of years. And then wanted to get more into weightlifting, and so started doing that on my own and started putting some of my people through, some weightlifting workouts, but really didn't know how to, transform their bodies. And that's what I was really interested in doing, because I knew I primarily had female clients. And so I knew that's what they really wanted. So started to research body transformation programs and came across Paul, and had heard through the grapevine, through some people at StrongFirst about him. And so I just sort of started to cyber stalk him a bit, and saw what he was doing and was like, this is what I want to do. And so I made a plan that I was at that time homeschooling my son, who was 15 at the time, and decided that we were going to move to Ireland for 3 months or so, because I was going to do this with Paul. And so I sent him an email, and somehow I got to his brother instead of him, to Damien. And Damien, asked me all these questions, how I found out about Paul and everything. And he said, well, he goes, you would actually move here for 3 months and train. And I said, yeah, I want to do this. I want to learn how to do it and bring it back to my people. And so he said, well, I'm going to pass this on to Paul, and we're going to talk to you about this. Well, then Paul got in touch with me, and you got in touch with me, Dwayne, about the certification that was happening. And after some correspondence over a couple of months, he invited me to fill out the application, to go through that process, and be part of the first certification.
At that point, you're working in a commercial gym?
Yes, a 24-hour gym.
You don't have your own facility?
No.
So talk me through then how the A12 certification went. Did it meet your expectations? What was the kind of process thereafter?
I had been through several certifications, and all of them great, but this one was by far, I knew it was what I was looking for. And it was pretty overwhelming, and a lot of information that I had never heard before from Paul. I realized that he was pretty much a mathematical genius, a programming genius, and that is what I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn how to program. Really just blown away by the whole thing. It was probably the best cert I've ever done in my life. And as far as knowledge I retained and I'm still using to this day, just talking to him along the way through these years and just picking up different nuggets from him of information that just are unique completely to anything else.
How then did you implement that into your business? Because there's a question we get a lot is, oh, well, if I've got this going, I've got that going. If I bring this in, how's it going to affect the other things that I'm doing? How did you find implementing the A12 into your own work setup?
When I found out I was going to Dublin to do the certification, I had I had a lot of clients. I had like 38, 40 clients at that time, but I decided that I would start with 10 people, and they were all women because I was working in the women's 24-hour facility. The gym owners weren't allowing me to go and work in the men's for whatever reason. It was just weird. But anyway, so I was training these women. I chose 10 of the women and told them that I was doing this and asked them if they would basically be my guinea pigs. And they were all like, yeah, for sure, we'll do it. And I made sure to choose different ethnicities. I chose different ages, shapes, sizes, like everything, because I wanted to see what this could do for every person at whatever walk of life they were in at that moment. So I did that and did it in the 24-hour facility. And it was a struggle, but we made it happen for sure. A lot of people were like trying to spy on us in the gym to see if they knew we were up to something different, Upon completion of that, those 10 women, they all did it completely, 100%. Their results were so amazing. And I used their results as my advertising, put those out there, and that just snowballed my business. I mean, since that day, it has just gone because, their friends saw it, their family saw it, people I didn't know, and it just brought in this plethora of new clientele.
We were having a laugh just before we actually started to record, and I asked you to give me some figures and approximations on the amount of people that you've trained.
Well, I was looking at the numbers the other day. It's just over 500 people I've put through the system. Some of them have done it, a couple of times. People really love it. They want to continue doing it. But over these years and that many people, it's been around $500,000.
It's pretty good.
I know, that blew my mind when I realized that. It's easy for me to sell because most people that come to me already know someone who's done it. And so they've heard a bit about it from that person, like how it went, what they did every day, what the nutrition was. So they sort of sell it for me, my prior clients. But when they actually come in, I mean, typically, the cost is something that is their concern, but when you break it down to how many times you're going to meet with them, how long you're meeting with them, all the valuable information they're going to get, all the one-on-one attention they're going to get for 3 months, you're going to be with them every day. You break it down to them that way. They're like, this is really, okay, this is valuable to my health now. They don't look at it as a price tag anymore. It's like, this is something I need to do, and it's definitely, it's not a hard sell when you do it that way. And I'll tell them, the monthly, like how much it is per month when you break it down, or per session, and they're like, oh, that's not bad. You're right. Yeah, I need to do this. But when you explain the value of what they're getting, it sells.
You've never done any advertising, is that correct?
Only on Facebook. And I did a local publication here, just it was like a health month thing they had going on. And she's a friend. I did it with her for like a little 3-month thing, but that is it. Facebook and Instagram.
That's it. That's not paid, right? That's just posting. Wow. So
we realized we needed to get out of the commercial gym. We needed a little more privacy, and we needed more space of our own that we weren't sharing with, just regular gym members. And I rented a just under 1,000 square foot space, thinking I would run just one group at a time, which is what I did. And what was happening was when my people were finishing the A12, I was then rolling them into sort of a maintenance plan, right? And so I brought on another trainer to help me with that. Well, we were just running all over each other, and we ended up bringing even another trainer in there because it was just like, these people roll out of the program, more people coming in, you have to make space for them. And we just didn't have enough space. So we were there less than a year in this little 1,000 square foot space. And then realized quickly we needed to move into something sizable, and moved downtown in a really great central location to 5,000 square feet, which we utilize all the space for sure with all the people, because they come in and they pretty much stay. They do the A12, and then we have something to offer. If they want to do it again, they do it again. It's fine. If they want to roll into another program, that's, we've got a lot to offer with, the StrongFirst. We've got lots of things going on there. So.
Yeah. So would I be right in saying that it's a good way of rolling people into other things that you can offer, and also taking people from the other offerings that you have and they can see how attractive the A12 is.
Definitely. So many people stay in-house because we have a CrossFit box, we have TRX, we're StrongFirst, and we're the Amazing 12. And so people will come in there. Oh, we have spin also, which we just recently started. So they'll come into those classes and do that, and they'll see what's going on over there. And they're like, I think I want to do that. And I may not even know them, but they're like, I've heard about this. At this point, everyone here knows what the Amazing 12 is, but they may not know exactly what goes on, so they're kind of watching it, they're seeing it because they're in the space, and then they'll come around and they'll do it, they'll do their 3 months, and then they can go either to CrossFit or to a 3-day maintenance strength program. Some go to TRX. It's just whatever they want to do, but we keep them in-house, Just wanted to make sure we had enough to offer that would, because people, they like to change things up, and some people like to stick with the same thing. So just a variety, so something for everyone.
It's cool because I remember the situation in Paul's gym originally before the certification in relation to the A12 was there's so much trust built up from the fact that you delivered them great results. And a lot of them have failed to get results elsewhere with other personal trainers, or most certainly by themselves. And therefore they attach a lot to the fact that you were the person that made this change. And a lot of loyalty there. And I think that's why so many people stayed on, where Paul had a real problem getting new people in because he had so many people that wanted to retain as members of the gym and whatnot, and such a great atmosphere that's built up from success.
Right.
You're a great example of being that force of good in your community and having this kind of, it's sort of like something intangible, where because people are on a very clear path, believe in the process because they've seen the end result, they're very happy. And they're sort of going through this process with this guaranteed outcome if they do what they're supposed to do. And that's just got a great formula for an environment where people feel like they're winning all the time.
You're with them every day, 5 days a week, and you're on this program, and you build a relationship with them beyond just the training, and like you said, they develop this trust for you, and they come in and things start happening really fast in the program also, like the physical changes, and even more so the mental changes, because some people come in with a lot of self-doubt and like they've never achieved anything like that before, and they don't think they will, but then they start seeing it happening very quickly, and they love the process. They love, the lifting, and they come in kind of knowing what they're going to do the next day. They know what to expect. They know what's expected of them. And so there's really no room for error unless you're just not doing what you're supposed to do. So really, for the most part, people that do this, they come in knowing, I'm doing this, 100%. And it definitely, you build this rapport with them, this camaraderie that they don't want to leave. They're your friends now, you're still their coach. They're still, your student, but they don't, there's a comfort level that like a family, and they don't want to go anywhere.
There's a lot of people out there that need a program like this and need help from people such as yourself who actually care about the outcome. Yes. So, I mean, it's been phenomenal to watch your journey from our perspective. People see the before and after photos, and immediately, and I remember we were speaking to a guy on Sean Greeley's team who was remarking on the outcome and saying, wow, they look incredible. I'd love to do it, but he had this slight apprehension because he goes, man, you're going to murder me, was what he said. And it was like, they have this perception that because there's this belief out there that train harder and harder and harder, and that's the only way to get better, that to get that kind of result, they're going to have to, go to the well every single day, every single session. So talk me through a little bit about the methodology and how it's different from other programs.
Okay, well, for one thing, each individual, they are going to be programmed and start exactly where they need to be. Like, you're never going to throw them into any heavy weights or anything that they physically can't do. And if they have any sort of limitations due to injury or arthritis, whatever it is, age, you can work around that in this program. And that's one thing I really loved about it. There was no limitations for them, okay? But it starts off so doable and easy, I guess, that the process of it is it's just very small steps, building up, building up, building up to their strength, so that their their central nervous system allows them to do what it is they need to do. And I mean, seriously, time goes so fast in this program, and before you know it, they're like, I can't believe I'm lifting this much weight. Where did I start again?
Mm-hmm.
They always say, where did I start? And I might be like with a 15-pound bar, and then they can't even believe where they are in just a very short amount of time. But it's so safely done, and the technique that is paramount to the program, Paul's technique for lifting, is the key to the whole thing. Mm-hmm. So if you're watching them like a hawk and staying on them, I mean, they're like, you're a drill sergeant. I'm like, I want you to do this the way he wants you to do it, and the way I want you to do it. So when they do that, that's what achieves those results and gets them safely there.
Yeah, exactly. Has them still training in 12 weeks so that they haven't broken down because of bad technique or bad form. And you really need all those elements, don't you? And even the nutrition aspect is very doable. It's not overly prescriptive, because I think if you're overly prescriptive, you're definitely going to get the super dedicated percentage of society that would stick to it, but you will lose a lot of like everyday people who maybe just can't give that level of detail. So what way have you found the nutrition in terms of the Amazing 12, and also the improvements that we've made with the new sheets and stuff that people get emailed out?
The new sheets are really, just to start with that, I was really pleased with them, because they come in thinking they're going to have to be, really restricted calories and just eating just these 3 things, or very boring, very bland. And they look at it and they're like, wow, there's so much on here. Like, it's really not that limited, I mean, it's limited to what's on the sheet, but there's a lot on that sheet. So it kind of makes them understand, it's like, healthy eating doesn't have to be just this and this. It's a lot of stuff, and it's just a matter of preparing it the right way, eating the right stuff at the right time. But it's not even really that strict, it's really doable. And it's just really eating wholesome foods, every now and then I'll get a client that is not even sure what a good carb is, or what. So it just teaches them that too. And they're like, oh, well, I like those, I like sweet potatoes. Yes. I can do, So, but it's very easy. And that's the thing. That's the one thing that blows my mind the most. People come in and they just think that that's going to be the hardest total for them. Yeah. And it just isn't. It's so easy if you follow the plan.
Because it's easy and because it's doable, and it's something that anyone can pick up and do, that you've made that change in their life. They now have a new standard of eating, and it's something they can continue onward. It's not so out there that are so difficult that it's like, well, thank God that's over and I can go back to normal. It's like, wow, I can actually maintain this, and I've set a new standard in terms of technique in the gym, in terms of strength, and in terms of how I eat and how I feel about myself and look after myself. One of the key aspects of the Amazing 12, or what we try to do and what you've been doing for years, is showing people that they are much less restricted than they believed that they were. So in terms of what it is that they can achieve physically and how they can go about it, and these self-imposed limits, or even limits that sometimes society imposes on people, telling you that you can't do particular things, you don't have the genetics, you don't have this X, Y, or Z, you need to take this supplement, etc. Talk me through a little bit about how you've seen a metamorphosis in not just the body, but also the person, of how they view themselves after the Amazing 12.
Yeah, people come in automatically thinking that if they're not sweating to death, bleeding, vomiting, they haven't done enough, And it's like, they learn that it's actually the complete opposite of that, that's your body's warning system telling you, cut it out. My favorite part of the whole program is the strength that's acquired. And when that happens, so when the muscle is built, the strength is acquired, that's when the physique changes naturally come, right? They don't even expect that. And they feel so capable and empowered. I mean, I have people that are like, even young people that say, I used to have to push up to get out of the chair. Now I just stand up. I can't believe I can do that. You know, I can get up off the floor without using my hands. Or the other day, my dad asked me to help him move, you know, some mattresses, and I pretty much did it by myself. And I mean, that makes them really, really happy, you know. So mentally, then of course they feel more confident, more capable, and sure of themselves, you know. And when that is happening, of course, the physique changes are happening at the same time. And then they see that as well, and they feel even better.
Well, you've got two things going on there. You've got the external problem of, I want to lose a bit of weight. And I mean, if you accept that for what it is, then fine. But really, that just means something else. That just means I don't feel good about myself, or I don't have the energy to play with my kids, or I don't have X, Y, or Z. It's a bit like talking about finances, where we say, oh, you've turned over this much money, and it's a great headline, but what has that done for your life and your lifestyle and the things that you can now do and the choices that you now have? And that's the important stuff. The important stuff is kind of focusing on what people really need help with. And it could be standing up or getting up out of a chair, which you or I might take for granted. But to someone else, that's a huge deal. And if you're making these kind of positive changes in people's lives, they are most certainly just better to be around in terms of the people that are around them, be it their family and friends, and it kind of just radiates out. And how does it make you feel to have made this difference in your community?
Oh, it makes me feel really good. Sometimes I'll have people that I don't know come up and say, are you Amanda? Are you the Amazing 12 girl? And I'm like, yeah, you know, and they're like, God, you've just done so much for so many people. You should be proud of yourself. I had somebody say that to me at an event a couple weeks ago, and I was like, so much. Like, that means the world to me. Yeah. That's like more than anything, you know?
The income that you've made, how has that changed your life? Not just in cold, hard facts, but what has it really done for you and your son and your lives?
So I have one son. He's 21 now. And what it's done for me is I don't really think about money anymore. You know, like, I don't stress about it, and I don't think about, because, you know, a lot of people out there are living paycheck to paycheck, or they're living well beyond their means, you know, or whatever it is, or just really having a hard time scraping by. I used to be that person, and I don't feel that way anymore. I know that I've got a really nice cushion. I've been able to make some investments. My son went to college in Ireland for 3 years. After visiting there so many times, he was like, I think I want to go to school here. We were able to make that happen, you know? And before, that would have never even been a possibility, you know? So I'm able to help him with his dreams and what he wants to do. And, you know, if something happens at the gym, or we need something, it's never an issue to come up with the money to buy this piece of equipment. We can just do it. You know, the bills are paid, they're paid on time. It's, you know, like, I'm about to take a month off and go on a vacation, you know? So it's financial freedom, you know, and I'm not a person who needs a lot of stuff, and I don't care about a lot of stuff, but I do love having that comfort, you know, and knowing that anything that comes up, I'll be able to take care of it. It won't be a burden or a stress, and can pretty much do what I want to do, you know.
We met you when you were over with your son. We went for something to eat, if you remember, not that far from where I live. At the time, he was a bit younger, but he was a kid who clearly, where you guys live and where you're from, he expressed to me, felt like certain limitations, you know, what he wanted to do and people he wanted to meet and things he wanted to experience. And then we met him again after he'd been over here studying, and he just seemed like a different person. So much more grown up and more worldly, and kind of like, and I remember pausing and thinking, wow, you know, he's been able to do that as a result of what Amanda's been able to achieve. And that's like enriched his entire life and affected it in, you know, ways I'll never know.
He's got another 1.5 years to do. He is trying to decide. He has a girlfriend from Dublin, and she'll be over here June 9th. They're going to do a bit of traveling, going to New York and Vancouver. And they're deciding where they're going to live in one or the other and finish school, I guess.
Tell me then, Amanda, a little bit about, if you don't mind, about your own story, your own kind of your involvement in an accident and how that affected you physically. And then if you can talk through a little bit about how strength has played a role and how the A12 has played a role in helping you with that. So,
well, when I was in college, I was on a ski team, and my event was a giant slalom. And this is a long time ago, but it was a massive injury. I was getting ready to do a race, and they had not yet roped off the course, and we were doing a practice run, another girl and I. And an out-of-control skier, just a novice skier, came across the course and broadsided me, and broke a lot of bones in my body. I ended up in traction for 2 months, excuse me. They put me in a medically induced coma so my right lung could heal, because two of my ribs had gone into my lung, and started the process of pins and, repairing the bones, and just the soft tissue damage was massive. That was pretty much the end of the ski team for me. Anyway, that was, like I said, a very long time ago. But as the years went on, I stayed very active and very, I love doing outdoors activities and stuff, but had to really be careful. And even back then, we lifted weights, to get ready for ski season. And the doctor said, you really need to keep lifting weights, but you need to do it the right way. You need to do it with somebody, a good coach. And since I wasn't on the team anymore, I didn't have access to our ski coach anymore. So, and our lifting coach. So over the years, just would hire personal trainers or go to gyms and look for a trainer or whatever. And it was okay, always kind of subpar, I knew that I couldn't just willy-nilly run around the gym and do whatever. Like, I had to do things a specific way, because I had so many compression fractures in my spine, and I had 5 prosthetic ribs at that point, a new sternum, plates on both kneecaps, and pins in my right ankle. And so it was like one thing connects to the other. And so if one thing was out of whack, it just completely messed up everything else, right? And so for years, I dealt with that, just always having an injury and always feeling kind of crappy, just not 100% ever. I had really strange prostheses going on, with the ribs and the sternum. And it's like, that stuff needs to stay in place, because if your body starts to fall, it's going to shift also, and it's going to cause pain, and it's going to be more surgeries, which I never want to do again. And so to avoid that, it would be best to stay fit and to stay strong. That's what the doctor said. But I never came across a trainer who understood my injuries and could work around that. It always ended up into more injury, not serious injury, but just enough to make me stop, right? So I'd start and I'd stop. I'd start and I'd stop over and over. And then, then upon meeting Paul and learning this program with him, it has completely changed everything for me. Like, I have not had another single injury. I am stronger than ever. I can say right now, I'm almost 52. And at this age, I can say I am stronger than I was when I was on the ski team. No doubt.
It's incredible.
Maybe not energy, but muscularly, yes, definitely. And it came out of need for me, but now I just love it, But yeah, so the last time I went to the doctor last year, just for a physical, she said, your compression fractures in your spine are more substantial, but she said, that's just with age. And she said, if you had not been doing what you've been doing, they would have been far worse. You might even be crippled. So she's like, keep doing it, keep the deadlifting, keep squatting. She's like, I know you know how to do all of that very well, so just keep it up. And so it is basically, his program has kept my body where it needs to be.
It's incredible to think that you're 52. I find that hard to believe. But also, you've got the fact that your last transformation, and for those that don't know, Paul's actually improved the A12 program and actually changed the programming element of it. And you've done the newest version, and you've obviously done the previous version. So tell me about your own A12 transformations, and then tell me about the latest one.
I've done the A12 4 times myself. And I've probably actually done it more than that, but I'm going to say really from start to finish 4 solid times, right? The first time I did it, definitely had significant change. was still working out the tweaks in my own body, but definitely felt good, felt solid, felt like my physique had changed. Then, did it a couple more times with the old system. And then when the new system came along, I was really anxious to try this because I kind of had an idea of what, just from talking to you and talking to him about what he was doing a little bit differently. And I just felt like it was really going to be good for me, for what I needed personally. And so when I did it this time, it was so different, but it was just way different, but kind of the same. It's hard to explain. I've been trying to reach 2 times my body weight deadlift for 2 years. And I did it with the newest program. And didn't even realize it had happened. I was like, wait, that was 300 pounds. Oh my gosh, and just, yeah. So that and it was just so gradual and so easy. It was like, there was never a struggle, not once.
It's really a performance program, a performance increasing program that happens to have the only effect it can have, because the performance increases are so drastic, is an astronomical physical result too. So its actual goal isn't aesthetics, its actual goal is performance with some tweaks so that it delivers aesthetics. So that being the case, he went even further this time and also wanted to add in that element of even extra comfort, where it would also be better for a client because it was even more comfortable and a little bit safer.
That's what I found for my clients this time too. Because I have some clients who had done it the way before and they did it this time, this new way. And definitely anybody who had previous injury, they're like, oh, I like this. Like, it feels really good, feels very safe. And their after photos were just incredible. The results were awesome.
One of the cool things as well about the training in comfort and starting with those lighter weights is clients who come in and they have very little experience sometimes, or some bad training practices is often one or the other. And it's cool for those people who are very intimidated potentially by the gym itself anyway, but by holding these implements and bars and stuff that they're not used to. And when you start off nice and light as well, you pattern a lot of control and domination in the client's mind, where they get very used to being in control. And right from the start, going through, by the time the weights start to get heavier, they're very comfortable. And they feel very comfortable and confident and competent. And they have all these little victories. They see the weight going up on the bar, and then there's somewhere else. And it's like when we spoke earlier about people's kind of change in how they feel about themselves, it's not anything to do with the mind. Isn't like a switch you can just flick. It's always a gradual process, and they feel like they're winning every day. They feel like they're that sense of accomplishment, and that's what builds it up slowly, bit by bit by bit, that to the point where, because at the start of the program, obviously you're testing certain rep maximums, and they are maybe week 8, 9, 10. They're just repping that maximum, for volume, and it's proof positive for them. It can't be denied, because sometimes people get in their heads about the aesthetics, as in, oh, am I changing enough? But when they're repping that bar that was, very heavy at the start for volume toward the end, it can't be argued with.
And I love to remind them of that. I'll say, do you realize what the weight is?
And they're doing it safely, and they're doing it in control, and they're doing it with confidence. It's not like, oh, they're losing shape and forcing it up, and it's, they're actually just doing it as part of their routine. It's almost, as Paul says, the comfort zone envelops previous limits. It's almost just consequential. It might be just a random workout at the point where they're like repping an old maximum, and it's just sort of subsumed as in not a big deal, until they think about it and go, wow, that's a big deal. Can you talk to us a little bit about, in terms of just regular people, what kind of effect you feel it's had across the board on their performance?
I would say at least 8, if not 9 out of 10 people who come in really don't know how to lift. Like, you'll have some guys come in, they're like, oh yeah, I used to lift in high school or whatever, and but they're really apprehensive about, their ability to lift weights, and they have this idea in their head that it's going to be really tough and that it's going to be too hard and heavy. And they definitely, like you said, starting with those lighter weights, doing that and building their confidence and getting their technique down to just, perfection, and they carry that out throughout the program, their performance and everything else improves, because like the running is part of the program, and sometimes they'll be like, oh, I don't run. And I was one of them.
It's always, I can't run, or I don't believe in running. That's like
right.
saying you don't believe in oxygen.
Right, right. Yeah.
It's a real thing, honestly. No, seriously, believe in it, because it's awesome, and we're actually created to do it. So
yeah. And all of a sudden they've become runners.
Mm-hmm.
And it all ties in with the lifting too, though, that made it possible for them to do that. And I'm living proof of that. I still run to this day now. I love it, but went in going, ugh, I don't run. Yeah. I'm not running. I've got 2 plates on my knees. I can't do that. No, you can.
The before after in this time frame gets a lot of people in the door, but really people fall in love with strength. It's not what brought them in, and people are sort of disconnected from strength, as in, I'd like to be strong enough to do various things. But when they really understand their potential, and again, you start to remove that barrier of how strong they might think they can become, because maybe they've gone in and just trained hard for a while and burnt out the CNS and stopped, and they sort of think, well, that's my limit. When you actually give them a pathway, I mean, we've had people come in with no prior experience, and then they're competing in powerlifting events or kettlebell sport events or other sports that they feel fit or strong enough to compete in after that 12 weeks. Can you tell me anything about your own experience in that in terms of your clients?
Just the other day, I had one of my clients, she loves deadlifting. She's massively strong. And she said, do you think I could do this competitively? And I was like, yeah, I do. And I think you should. And it's like, she would have never, ever thought of that, a year ago. This girl, she's like, I would like to do a deadlifting competition. I would like to lift this number. She's got it in her mind, what she wants to do. And that's so cool, and she'll do it. She'll definitely get it. And she's going to go do that, and that's to me the coolest part of the Amazing 12, honestly.
What do you like most about being an A12 coach? If you could pick one thing.
I like the confidence it gives me as a coach. I feel like I am among a group of coaches that really cares about people, that really knows what they're doing with those people. And I feel like I can I like the confidence it gives me to be able to deliver what my people want, because I care about them. I care about their feelings. I care about what they want and what they're trying to achieve. And the fact that it gives me that is what I love the most about it.
Amanda, what advice would you have to anyone who was thinking about doing the A12 certification, asked your opinion? What would you say to them? I
would tell them to do it. Absolutely. I have 2 women in my gym who are certified A12 as well. And because I encouraged them to do it for a number of reasons, for the experience and the expertise, but also for their own financial freedom and to have the confidence that they can deliver exactly what their clients want. You don't want anybody to come in and say, I would really like to have this happen with my physique, or I, want to be able to lift this, or whatever their goal is. And you be like, I'm not sure I can do that. They know they can do it now. Without it is not ever going to be a problem. And that becoming an A12 coach puts you in that realm of coaching expertise.
We just want to thank you for everything that you've done as an Amazing 12 coach, and you continue to do. I hope to talk to you soon. I'd like to thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Dwayne. It's my pleasure.
No worries. Take it easy, Amanda. Nice to see you.
You too. Take care.